So on the topic of how I'm going to attach the top, there are three ways that I normally do this. One is to use dominoes, so to cut a domino into the side, about 1/16 of an inch down from the top, and then drill a hole, usually a little bit larger than the screw needs, but enough that the head won't fit through there, and screw that in the bottom. I would normally do that on the sides, one in the front, maybe two in the back. That would allow for some movement. So the other thing that a lot of people use are these figure eights. So the figure eight, you use a Forstner bit. Again, you can cut in a couple in the front, a couple in the back, one on each on the side. The process for that is that when you put this in, you leave the screw that would attach here to the casework a tiny bit loose, and this allows for some movement, particularly on the sides, where this would allow for some movement for this to expand. The other thing that I will use are these edge guides. So it's a L bracket. You'll see that these have slots on both sides, and they're 90 degrees opposed. So I can't use this on the front and back because this is too wide. But the principle for this is that if you attach this hard and fast to the side, then this slot here, the screw from underneath, is just shy of being dead tight. So allowing for some movement, which allows the table to move, because it's always going to move across the grain, not top to bottom. So my grain is running this way, and this would allow this to move side to side. So the next thing is I am going to do a little bit of scraping. I see a couple of little glue spots, and then decide if I'm going to put a support here, glue on the side runners. I will cut the drawer sides to length, and then that way I can align the drawer side to the slides. I will probably use some just scrap cherry that I have for the sides. It's a little smoother than the hickory, and I think it'll be a nice contrast if you do happen to look in. There will be no bottom on this. You don't need a dust rail on something like this. And then I will glue up the drawers themselves. I'm not going to dovetail the front and sides. I just don't think that's really worth it here. I will do a nice dado on the front, or I should say a rabbet, and the sides will rabbet into the front. And then I'll do a contrasting dowel. Again, I might use cherry and really attach that firmly. But so between the glue and the dowel on the front and the back, the drawer will be super strong. So I have prepared the front and the sides. The dados are all cut for the drawer bottom to fit into. The dados are cut into the front for the sides to fit into. I've run these sides over my joiner to make sure they're the tiniest bit under the drawer front. Again, I showed you earlier the dados here where the slides will fit into. Again, these will get sanded and waxed. They'll run very, very easily. I will be cutting a handle. What I like to do on these, and most of my clients really like this, if they don't, obviously I put a handle on it, but I cut a negative space. So for most people, about 4.5 inches and just about 3/4 of an inch down. So when this is closed, it's just enough for your hand to get in and pull it. If for anyone that has mobility problems, this is really easy to use rather than a handle that you've got to grip it. So the other thing I've done in clamping this up square, I use these homemade squares. So I've clamped these up so my sides and my front of the drawer are dead square, and that way I could measure for the back. The back will fit into this rabbet that I cut on the table saw, and again used a really good shoulder plane to clean that up. This happens to be a Lee Nielsen. I think I've mentioned that I really like Lee Nielsen planes. The drawer bottom will fit into this dado that I showed you earlier, and I'll take this apart and show that to you. The drawer back fits above that dado so that the bottom will screw into the bottom of the back. That'll allow for some seasonal movement. Also in the dados I leave things about a 1/16 inch under. I'll know if I slide the bottom in once this is glued up. If it slides in easily, there's going to be room. And so you'll see here that my drawer front has a dado here, actually a rabbet. A dado here, the bottom will fit into this, and the sides fit into these two rabbets on the front. From the front you'll see nothing but the beautiful hickory grain. And on the side, where the side fits in, I will run some hardwood dowels in from the side into the hickory front. I may use some in contrast, it looks kind of nice, so I might even run some cherry dowels. That'll give this, in addition to all the glue area, a lot of strength. So I wanted to show you the progress on the drawer sides and slides that I had mentioned earlier in this video. So these are the drawer, or this is one of the drawer sides. It's sliding on that hardwood rail, and you'll see that there's no tip out at all. So there's a dado cut into the side, and there is this slide that's screwed into the side frame, and this creates a really smooth sliding action. And there's a dado in the back, and that's for the drawer back that fits into, and then this is the dado for the drawer bottom. So these go in again very easily. And then on the drawer front you'll see that there's a rabbet here that corresponds to the side so that this fits in. And again, I've got my continuous grain on here, and this just fits in. Needs some final fitting on this, but this will be continuous grain. The top, the bottom, and the drawer front itself are all cut from the same piece of hickory. So I finished working on the wooden drawer slides that I previously described. So this is the drawer side, and I'll take this out so you can see it, and the drawer slide is here. The dado was cut in the drawer side on the outside of each. Just to note that I cut these dados on the table saw, but one of the tools that I wanted to call attention to that I used is my router plane. I think a lot of people don't know about these tools, and even when you cut a very accurate dado, using the router plane and setting it at a depth, it will act sort of like a scraper, making sure you're going against the grain so you're not getting tear out. But these are incredibly effective at cleaning up things like dados and rabbets and even tenons. These blades come right out, they're easy to sharpen. And this is a Lee Nielsen. I happen to love Lee Nielsen planes, the router plane and their chisels. I think they're incredible quality, and as an added bonus, they are American made. Although the Canadian, I think it's Wind River, I forget the name of it, are also exceptional quality. I have friends that use those. So the way this works is there's the side rail, which is screwed in here for now, just in case I need to adjust it. And the drawer will slide in. You can see that I installed these clips. These will not affect the drawer at all. And they have this slide here that will give you some movement when the top moves across its width. I did put this central kind of support in just to give the top, and particularly this top rail, a little bit of support. I will put 2 figure-8s here, and then I'll probably put one of these clips in the back and figure-8s here. I like a lot of connections for the top, but all allowing for a good amount of movement. So here's the finished Hickory kitchen table that you've been watching me build over the last 4 or 5 weeks. You'll notice the beautiful hickory grain on the top, which is 3 boards wide, and on the front with the front drawer front and bottom rail from the same board, so continuous grain, and very straight grain legs that I usually pick for legs so that we don't have chip out. There's a gentle chamfer at the bottom of every leg. I do this on all tables, but especially with oak and hickory that is prone to chip out. I don't want a client to drag this across the table and have problems. The table is finished, as I've mentioned, with 3 coats of my tung oil, boiled linseed oil, mineral spirits, wiped on, let sit, rub in with a 3M pad, clean shop towel to wipe off. I've also given this 2 coats of pure tung oil varnish because it is a kitchen table and I want it to be a little more resilient. That's had 48 hours drying between each, wiped down as it dries, and then it also has 2 coats of a very high quality Carnauba beeswax paste wax, buffed on, let dry a couple hours, and then buffed off. You'll also notice the drawer fronts and the sides, which have a 1/4 inch wide by 3/4 inch high dado, and that's what the drawer runs on. So it runs on wooden drawer rails, no metal for me. And you'll notice that the drawer slides very, very smoothly. There's no tip out because the drawer up until the last 1/2 inch is running on a hardwood rail. And that's also finished with the same finish. There's a hardwood bottom to the drawer. I thought it was too big, too wide to have plywood, even nice plywood. So that has some hardwood that I had from another project. So please let me know if you have any questions. Please like and subscribe. You can watch the other videos. I'll link them in the description, part 2 and part 1. I'm also putting out a video on my finishing process, which I've described many times. You can see how I mix it, how I apply it, why I use this rather than hard wax oils and such. And then I'm also starting a project for a client for a walnut dining room table. And then I'm also putting out a video on what I call the best project I did in my woodworking shop. So keep an eye out for those. And again, please like and subscribe. Send me any questions. Thanks very much.